I posted a video talking about the Nintendo Direct with the upcoming release of the Nintendo Switch 2. So I watched through the Direct and I showed my reactions to it. I'm seeing a lot of people's responses in their own content. Some of it's like hyperbole. Sometimes they just regurgitate nonsense, in all honesty. It's some silly remarks. But I find people just seem to copy each other rather than say what's actually fact. So some people are saying about, obviously, the majority of us are on the same wavelength. Like the price of games right now, especially with the Nintendo Switch 2, is outrageous. I think it's 70, £80 for a game is just pathetic. There's, I can't think of a reason that's justifiable. There's enough games that we can get. We don't need it. It becomes it doesn't become attractive anymore. Like, it'd have to be something really super, wouldn't it? But some people are making comments like, the problem with Nintendo is their games don't go on sale. Well, that's not true. I've bought plenty of games on the eShop, the first party titles, for about £35. The problem is they tend to they were like when the Nintendo Switch first come out, it was £59.99. So of course it's like, I'm not paying £59.99. That's ridiculous. But sometimes they do drop to £35 on the eShop. And they do drop off at retail as well. So I think when people keep saying, and it keeps getting repeated, so I keep hearing people say the same thing. The problem with Nintendo is the games don't go on sale. Yes, they do. Maybe it takes them a year or so before they start dropping, but they do drop. So what are they talking about? How could I have bought it for £35 if it didn't go on sale? It's just stupid. But I hate sheep. People just copy the same crap. So I just want to show my problem with the Switch 2 right now, because in all honesty, I'm not impressed at all. You want to like it. You want to see it as value. I've spent another video that I've sold so many Switches. I kept wanting, because it feels a niche, doesn't it? And then you get tired and bored because the games are repetitive. They don't have much replay value. And it becomes a huge problem. Been there, played it. Been there, played it. Oh, I miss it. Oh, don't miss it anymore. Get rid of it. And now I'm at a phase where, with the hype of the Switch 2, I'm thinking, I feel like having a Switch OLED again. Literally, that's what I'm thinking about. I don't really need it. I might treat myself later, but I can't see myself buying a Switch 2, and I'll explain why. The games are expensive, but as are the accessories. Now, we've got it listed here, £42.99. Let's say it's £430 for the Switch 2 and Mario Kart. You think that's a good deal? That's fair. That's not a bad deal. It's the latest technology. It's great. That's fair. I consider that reasonable, because right now the Switch OLED has dropped from £300 to £250 on Amazon, and I'm thinking that's really, really that's something I could get on board with. £250 for the OLED. A lot of time I sold mine because literally I couldn't validate the £300. £250 makes it a bit more desirable. But then in your head you're thinking, for about £180 more, you can have the Switch 2, which is the latest generation. You'd have access to all these games. Yeah, that'd be nice. And it's got a bigger screen as well, but it's not OLED, but still. Yeah, it makes more sense to get the latest one, doesn't it? Because you will have access to a bigger game library. Well, that's if you can afford the game library. This is where the problem is. So I'm thinking in my head, £250, I've already got a lot of games on the eShop. There's people already with a Switch anyway. But for me, it's like, it makes sense just to go back and get the OLED, I think, and just accept that for the next couple of years, because there's no way on earth I'm paying this prices. Now, yeah, this Switch 2 comes with Mario Kart, which I think is a great deal. That's a good deal. £430, and it comes with a £75 game. I don't think it's a £75 game, but that's what they're listing it at. Nintendo are a joke at this point, because they're supposed to. They're more of a family company. I consider them like Disney, but they're all greedy. It's unreal. You've got families with multiple kids. How the hell are they going to be able to afford and justify all this? It's not fair. It's just consumerism. It's a joke. So I personally think, just go back to the Switch. If you didn't get a Switch, get a Switch. I can't justify the prices. There's a lot of issues around the board here. You've got a control pad that's £75. On the one hand, you can make sense of that, but why is that? Even that I can't make sense of, though. Xbox Series X and PS5 controllers, they're quite expensive, but they do fluctuate in price. Like, for instance, I got another Xbox Series X controller. I think it's a purple one for my daughter. Recently on Amazon in a spring sale, cost £41.99, so £42. I thought that was a good deal, considering it's normally 50 odd quid. And I recently got this blue PS5 controller, but this one's 70 quid. So yeah, it was a risk, but it comes with the haptic feedback. There's certain features of this that you just don't get with the Xbox controller, um, and it works well with the PlayStation games on PC. That's why I get it. See, PlayStation put the price up, but I can't justify £75 for a Switch controller. Like, what makes that one special now? Like that PlayStation one's awesome because of the haptic feedbacks and things. It's literally got unique features. What does this one have that's unique? Because I can't say how is that justifiable. Then you've got Donkey Kong, which is like they're listed at 66 here, but I'm guessing it's about 70 quid everywhere else. Donkey Kong, that looked awesome. It looked like the new Mario Odyssey, which I don't know if it retailed at 59.99. It might have done, but why go beyond 59.99? That was pushing it. For me personally, that's the top end. You're getting some PS5 games released at 69.99. I wouldn't pay 70 quid for a game. I think 60 is the limit. 60, it better be bloody good. I'm waiting. And this is it. Of course, they're only showing 3 games in this instance. We're only seeing Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, and Metroid Prime. And literally, when I watched the Direct, that's all that was any good anyway. And then I think the From Software game that's they had the new. It's like it's not. Well, they've got Elden Ring coming, but they've also got a new IP coming exclusive to here. And that was one of the other games I was interested. But I'm interested in. There wasn't really anything else. So it's a lot of money to hemorrhage just to play the latest game when it's not like must have. But it's a lot. Like we're talking about a lot of money here because you're literally going to be hemorrhaging money for the rest for a long time. Because they spoke about within the Direct, it said you can only use specific SD cards now. They have to have Express written on them or something. Yeah, the EX. So I was like, is that a propriety? In my head, I'm thinking, can you get aftermarket ones? Like, what is the situation here? So Shop 2 is somewhere I've pre-ordered game consoles for a long time. Like I've had PS4 from them, and I think I had the PS5 as well. Yeah, so they're reliable. They're a reliable source, and they're very, very competitive. So you've got a SD card, 256 gigabyte for £50. £50 for 256 gigabyte. Now, I don't know how fast that is, that card, but I don't care. You can get 1 terabyte for that price. I think it's 1 terabyte. It might be 512. I can't remember. But anyway, I think you can get it on sale anyway, a 1 terabyte. I just think 256 gigabyte for £50. That's expensive. We're starting to go towards the PlayStation Vita, where it had that proprietary memory card. That wiped out an awful lot. I've actually got one of them still somewhere. It might even be this one. I think it might be Sony M2. Oh, I've got it right in front of me. Sony M2 512 megabytes. I'm not sure you can see that. Get myself out of the camera. I've got it one way around, right? Oh, yeah. It's trying to focus on me, unfortunately. But anyway, there you go. I got 512. That would have been a fortune when it first released. But you're just hemorrhaging left, right, and centre for just to play a game. So effectively, you want Mario Kart, you got a Nintendo Switch with Mario Kart, and you want Donkey Kong. That's £500 straight away for 2 games and a console. You can make peace to a degree with that, but you can't keep paying £70 every time a game comes out. I mean, some people can, but I can't. I can't justify it. I think if you're only a Nintendo fan, then I get it. But a lot of us have other consoles or other machines. Like I like my PC gaming. I got plenty of games. I don't need to rely on one device. And this is just pure corporation greed, and I won't invest in it. So, like I say, I was interested. For now, though, for me personally, it's no longer comparing a £250 Switch OLED, which is what the new price is, to a £430 Switch 2. It's not about that one being a bit more, that one being a bit less. It's really like the overall cost. How much is this going to cost me over time? Like, how much going to keep paying out? The games are ridiculously expensive. I'll just stick with the ones I already own on the Switch OLED. That'd be fine. And one day, if Sony get their head out their asses and drop the price to a more reasonable price, which I can't see them doing day one, because no company goes back straight on their word immediately, because they have to be in control. They can't have consumers telling them, dictating prices. So they'll stick to their guns, but the prices may drop over time. But I'll wait for that period when they maybe do that. And then there'll be a bigger library anyway. And until something comes out that makes you go, I must have this, it's like, what's the rush? Because we're just looking at that, and I just noticed the Joy-Cons. I don't know how much they normally are, but £80 for a pair of Joy-Cons. Like, what are we doing here? That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, you shouldn't need to buy another set, of course, but if you do, £80. I knew the camera would be expensive. I actually thought it might be about 80, knowing seeing the rest of it. But £50, but it makes you wonder, is that a 720p camera? Because I reckon it is. It didn't look very good in the direct. I think the GameCube controller looks quite cool. I'd be interested in that. But again, at what price are we talking here? Because we're looking at the pros already for 75. So what we're looking at with this, 60 quid? Come on, you're just hemorrhaging money. It's like there has to be a line drawn of how much you're prepared to pay. If you're a Nintendo enthusiast, in fact, it's another page here. I didn't know there was another page. We'll do it as a new link because I don't know what's going to open. Okay, I didn't know there's another page. I know I can't open another page, surely, because it just stopped there. I don't know. We'll have a look. Okay, there is more stuff. Oh, wow, this is just going to get mental. Well, we will have a look in a sec. I can't remember what I was saying now. I'm getting all worked up with this. It says hemorrhaging money. There's not enough new. I was curious how much Tears of the Kingdom and stuff, the Zelda games, because they were talking about a Switch 2 version. And all I was thinking was, how much more money is that, though? Because you're not doing that for free, because Nintendo clearly don't want to. They want it to just greedy. But yeah, they remind me of Disney. And it's just about exploiting as much as they possibly can. And like I say, when I think it's focused on kids for the most part and families, it's quite disgusting. They're wealthy enough as they are, But yeah, there's some people that will actually just be Nintendo crazy, and I get it, because if you're like, how much money would someone that's Disney nuts pay? They go to the Disney World, they have all the Disney memorabilia, their life is all Disney. So to them, it's justifiable because they literally love the brand, and this will work for those that are absolutely hooked on Disney. Like, I mean, on Nintendo, those that just don't look beyond Nintendo will be happily paying it, of course, and I can understand that. But the rest of us who are casual Nintendo gamers, we have other games we like playing and other interests and hobbies. This is just too much at once, I think. This is £40 for this really boring game that looked absolutely dire on the direct. Bravely Default, flying something. It was like, that was terrible. £40. You've got to be a lunatic to hemorrhage this. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2. Now that's curious because it's 66. I'm going to open a new tab because I want to see what we get. I'm going to put Tears of the Kingdom because I want it specifically from the same store. Otherwise, we're not going to find any continuity. So I want to see what it is in Switch. Right, okay, so it's side by side. Oh, you can't really see that. Yeah, sorry, but we ain't going to do it. Because you saw the price before. So it's $66.85 for the Switch 2 version, or 52. So it's gone up by nearly £15, roundabout, give or take. £10, £15. That's reasonable. I thought that. If you do it 10, 15, that's fair. If you start going 20, I think it's greedy. Because PlayStation have done remasters of certain games on PlayStation from PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and they're £10 upgrades. Now, you could argue it should be free, but okay, if you're going to charge £10 reasonable, any more than that is just greedy. So if they make it a £10 upgrade, I can understand it, but I don't really know if that's going to be the case at all. What else we got? Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Okay, we're looking at £10 upgrades, I think. Forgotten Kingdom Kirby, I think 66 is a bit heavy. Really? Was it really a big hit in the first place? You have to be a big fan of that. These adapters are getting stupid, though. The £26, I think it's about that I think it's like 20 odd quid for the freaking Switch one as well. That's a lot of money just for a plug. Look, even just one here, like we're getting the left side now of the Joy-Con is £45. That Kirby Air Riders, I said that. Who's going to buy that when you've got Mario Kart? Kirby Air Riders. I thought you can have bigger games you want to collect, and like with Zelda when if it like comes. You've obviously got Mario Kart. People are going to have these other games. This Kirby Air Riders on top of everything else. The costs 70 quid. Like, you'd have to be absolutely nuts. You have to be rich, but you don't care about money. Money means nothing to you anymore. But this is interesting. So the Switch 2 console's 400 near enough, and it's only £30 more at the moment for Mario Kart with the console. I think that's a great deal, but you do have to realise what you're locking in. You're locking in a good deal on the beginning, but you're hemorrhaging the shit out. If you want games, you're paying for these games. Like, I don't know. This is not affordable to me. £50 for a Street Fighter game. Come on. You have to be Street Fighter crazy. Hogwarts Legacy. It's already out on the Switch for about 30 quid. Now they're going to put it up to £70. They're literally going to put Hogwarts Legacy up to £70 for it to have seamless transition and slightly better graphics. Well, I say slightly. Hopefully it'll be better than that. But Hogwarts Legacy isn't £70 on any console. I have it on PC, so you're not going to get a better version than PC. And even on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, they're going to look awesome. You're not going to get better than that, but yet they're going to charge 70. It's just greed at this point. But yeah, like I say, I don't like misinformation. I think when people keep spouting out nonsense saying Nintendo games don't go on sale, that makes absolutely no sense because they do go on sale. Just trying to think. There is a website, isn't there? I can't remember now. It's worth doing some checks though. There is a website where you can check out the history of prices on the eShop and all the different digital stores, and you'll see for yourself a little bit of research that games do actually drop. So I don't expect these games to stay this price, but if you're going to be an early adopter, get ready to hemorrhage money. Literally, £1,000 will get you likely. I'm only guessing here because you're roughly nearly £100 a game anyway. You're slightly off, give or take. Realistically, that means like 10 games. If it was 100, even 5 games, if they're £100 each, 5 games, you get 5 games. So you could I'm trying to think from £1,000. You've got £1,000 to put on the Switch 2. You're going to lose a lot on the Switch itself by the time you've bought the Switch. Yeah, 430. By the time you bought a Switch at 430, you could maybe add another. You've got £570 left to spare, but it's going to cost you 60, 70. It's going to cost you about £70 a game. So that's literally your budget, isn't it? 10 games, £70, 700. You haven't even got 700. So you're not even going to get 10 games. You probably get about 8 or 9 games. If you've got £1,000, you can have a Switch 2 and 8 games. I think you can do better with £1,000. Personally, I mean, obviously to each their own. I can't justify these games, but at that price, I'd feel really silly because eventually you're going to get tired. Like we get bored of games. We move on to something else. How long does the fad wear off? And they're talking about a lot of the cartridges, just like last time, is they don't hold the game, they hold a key, an activation key. So that begs the question, what if you get fed up with the game? Can I trade it in? Am I stuck with this game for eternity? It's incredibly risky. Anyway, that's my take on the Switch 2. I'm not impressed with it. I think it's really, really greedy, corporate greed. And I think they're alienating themselves, and it could end up going a similar way as the Wii U. But in this instance, I think there'll be people who adopt to it regardless because it's becoming the Disney of gaming. That's how I think of it. Nintendo is the Disney of gaming. It's crazy.